Welcome to our deep dive into the ever-evolving saga of Kratos in the God of War franchise. Today, we explore the vast tapestry of mythology that awaits our beloved Godslayer as he ventures beyond Ragnarok. From the sun-scorched sands of Egypt to the lush forests of Celtic lore, the future holds a treasure trove of new adventures, epic battles, and transformative experiences for Kratos and Atreus. Join us as we recap the monumental events that have shaped Kratos' journey, examining how his evolution from a rage-fueled warrior to a nuanced father figure has set the stage for what lies ahead. With each new setting, we'll uncover potential abilities, divine foes, and the challenges that will test his mettle and moral compass. So grab your blades of chaos and let's plunge into the rich realms of mythology where the next chapter of God of War unfolds. Kratos has come a long way from the rage-fueled god-killer we first met in the original God of War. Back in the Greek era, his entire existence was driven by vengeance and destruction, fueled by the betrayal of the gods and the loss of his family. He was a force of pure anger, slaughtering gods, titans, and anyone who stood in his way. But as the series transitioned into the Norse mythology in 2018's God of War, we started to see a new side of Kratos. He's older, wiser, and carrying the heavy burden of his past. In the Norse saga, Kratos is no longer just a machine of rage. He's a father, a mentor, and a man trying to escape the cycle of violence that once defined him. The introduction of his son, Atreus, aka Loki, brought a whole new layer to Kratos' character. He's no longer fighting just for survival or revenge. He's fighting to protect and guide his son. We see Kratos wrestling with his emotions in a way we never saw before. He's trying to be a better man for Atreus, teaching him to control his own anger and make better choices. Fatherhood has shifted Kratos' motivations. Now every battle, every decision he makes is done with Atreus in mind. He's not just trying to defeat gods anymore, he's trying to break the cycle of violence and create a better future for his son. This dynamic between Kratos and Atreus has brought a deeper emotional core to the series, showing that Kratos is more than just a warrior. He's a father trying to navigate a world full of gods and monsters while teaching his son to be better than him. The God of War series has taken us through some incredible and brutal stories, but things have changed drastically after the events of God of War Ragnarok. The culmination of the Norse saga has left both Kratos and Atreus at a crossroads, and the world they inhabit has been irrevocably transformed. So, where exactly do we stand after the chaos of Ragnarok, and what does this mean for the future of Kratos, Atreus, and the Nine Realms? Ragnarok, the prophesied end of the world in Norse mythology, was the centerpiece of the most recent installment. Kratos, alongside his son Atreus, faced gods like Thor, Freya, and Odin, and battled through personal struggles as well as massive realm-shattering conflicts. Ragnarok brought destruction to many parts of the Nine Realms, especially Asgard, which was decimated. The very fabric of these realms has been altered, leaving some places in ruin and others struggling to rebuild in the wake of the chaos. For Kratos, Ragnarok was not just a battle against gods, it was a battle within himself. Throughout the Norse saga, we saw him struggling with the idea of fate and destiny, and by the end of Ragnarok, Kratos had begun to embrace a new perspective. He realized that he no longer has to be a slave to fate or the role of the god-killer. The moment where Kratos sees a mural in Jotunheim depicting himself as a beloved and revered god, a god of peace, was a major turning point. It represented a potential future where Kratos is no longer defined by the violence and destruction of his past. This moment left many players wondering, could this be the future for Kratos? Could he finally step away from being the god of war and seek a life of peace? However, the destruction caused by Ragnarok left scars not just on the land, but on the people and beings that inhabit the Nine Realms. The relationships between gods and mortals have been thrown into chaos, and the power dynamics have shifted. With Odin defeated and Asgard in ruins, there's a power vacuum, and we can only imagine what kinds of threats or factions might rise to fill that void. In the aftermath of Ragnarok, the Nine Realms are in various states of devastation and recovery. Asgard is gone, completely destroyed in the final battle. The home of the Aesir gods is nothing more than rubble, and those who survived are left scattered across the realms. This leaves a massive question mark over the remaining gods and any lingering factions of power in the Norse world. With Odin, Thor, and many of the key players from Asgard dead, there's room for new leaders, or new threats, to emerge from the shadows. Midgard, the realm most familiar to us, has also undergone tremendous changes. Once covered in an unrelenting winter known as Fimbulwinter, the land has finally started to thaw after the events of Ragnarok. While this brings a new beginning, it also brings uncertainty. The realm's people must now rebuild, but without the protection of the old gods, how vulnerable are they? And what does the rebirth of nature mean for the creatures and beings that roam these lands? The other realms, Vanaheim, Alfheim, Helheim, and beyond, each have their own share of struggles and mysteries after Ragnarok. In Vanaheim, where Freya and her people come from, the balance of power is more fragile than ever. Freya, now free of her hatred for Kratos, might seek to rebuild her homeland, but what other Vanir gods or forces could rise in the absence of Asgard's influence? In Helheim, the realm of the dead, we've already seen the rise of dark forces like Garm, the giant wolf Kratos and Atreus faced. Could there be more entities from Helheim ready to break free and wreak havoc across the realms? The boundaries between life and death seem more fragile than ever, and we can expect some of those consequences to come back to haunt Kratos. Kratos' journey is far from over, but the direction he takes next is full of possibilities. At the end of Ragnarok, we see a Kratos who has begun to find peace within himself. He has broken free from the cycle of violence and revenge that has followed him since his days in Greece, and now, with the prophecy of his death behind him, he can forge his own path. But what does that mean for the god of war? Can Kratos truly leave behind the mantle of a warrior and live a peaceful life, especially in a world as dangerous as the Nine Realms? It's hard to imagine Kratos simply walking away from conflict, but we could see him take on a different role, a protector rather than a destroyer. Perhaps his newfound goal is to restore balance to the realms, or prevent another catastrophic event like Ragnarok. However, the ghosts of Kratos' past have a way of catching up to him, and it's possible that the next chapter of his story will involve facing more of the consequences from his long, bloody history. Could his actions in Greece or even his battles in the Norse world come back to haunt him in unexpected ways? While Kratos finds himself on a path toward peace, Atreus, Loki, is now off on his own quest. In Ragnarok, we saw Atreus struggle with his identity as Loki, a giant of Jotunheim, and what it means for his future. By the end of the game, Atreus decides to go on his own journey to find the remaining giants and discover more about his role in the larger mythological world. Atreus' departure sets up some interesting possibilities for future installments. While Kratos stays behind, there's no doubt that their stories will intersect again. Atreus is growing into his own man, his own god, and with that comes new responsibilities and challenges. His quest to find the giants could lead him to new realms and mythologies, potentially beyond the 9 realms of Norse mythology. Could Atreus' journey take him to other pantheons? We've already seen the crossover between Greek and Norse mythologies, so it's not out of the question that Atreus might stumble into Egyptian, Mayan, or even Celtic mythologies. As a god of mischief and change, Loki is bound to stir up trouble wherever he goes, and his journey could take him down some dangerous paths. The real question is, will Atreus be able to avoid the mistakes of his father? Throughout Ragnarok, we saw him struggle to balance his desire for power and knowledge with his love for his family and the people around him. Now, without Kratos by his side, Atreus will be forced to make choices that could define his future and potentially bring him into conflict with his father once again. With the power structures of the 9 realms shattered, the door is wide open for new threats to rise. Whether they come from the remnants of Asgard, the hidden forces in the other realms, or entirely new pantheons, Kratos and Atreus will have no shortage of enemies. The question is, will these threats be drawn to Kratos because of his reputation as a god-killer, or will Atreus' role as Loki attract danger on its own? In conclusion, God of War, Ragnarok has left the world in a state of uncertainty. Kratos and Atreus are on different paths, but their stories are far from finished. The 9 realms are ripe for new adventures, challenges, and enemies, and we can't wait to see what's next for Kratos and his son as they navigate a world after Ragnarok. As the God of War series continues to evolve, it opens up the possibility of exploring new mythologies, allowing Kratos to face different gods, monsters, and challenges in diverse settings. With his journey through Greek and Norse mythology concluded, many fans are speculating on where Kratos might go next. Three major mythologies that stand out as potential future settings are Egyptian, Mayan or Aztec, and Celtic mythology. Each offers unique gods, weapons, and storylines that could further push Kratos' growth and provide us with thrilling, brutal combat. One of the most exciting aspects of Egyptian mythology is the opportunity for Kratos to wield powerful, iconic weapons from this ancient civilization. Imagine Kratos brandishing a khopesh, the distinctive curved sword of the Egyptian warriors, with its sharp edge and brutal design, perfect for slicing through enemies with precision. Beyond physical weapons, Egyptian mythology is filled with mystical artifacts and divine powers. Kratos could channel the energy of the gods, such as Ra, the sun god, or Horus, the sky god, granting him the ability to harness elemental forces. For instance, Kratos could command the scorching power of the sun or control the desert sands, whipping them into devastating storms that shred his enemies. Another potential power could come from the Nile River itself. Kratos could summon destructive floods to sweep through his foes or manipulate the river's life-giving waters for healing. Egyptian mythology is rich with formidable gods and legendary creatures, providing plenty of epic bosses for Kratos to challenge. A showdown with Ra, the all-powerful sun god, could lead to a battle of cosmic proportions, perhaps involving fiery solar flares and divine light as Kratos fights to overcome Ra's overwhelming power. Anubis, the jackal-headed god of the dead, could test Kratos with legions of the undead, skeleton warriors, mummies, and other nightmarish creatures rising from their tombs to confront the ghost of Sparta. Set, the god of chaos and storms, would also make a formidable opponent, harnessing powerful tempests and using his mastery over disorder to trap Kratos in unpredictable, shifting environments. Additionally, mythical beasts from Egyptian lore would add layers of excitement to the game. Kratos could battle against Sobek, the crocodile-headed god, whose monstrous size and raw physicality would provide an intense combat encounter, or the Sphinx, challenging Kratos with deadly riddles and attacks. Egyptian mythology's rich themes of life, death, and immortality offer intriguing possibilities for a God of War story. Kratos could be drawn to Egypt after hearing rumors of a secret tied to immortality or resurrection, offering him a chance to further confront his complicated relationship with life and death. As a god who has already traversed two mythological landscapes, Kratos might now find himself entangled in the Egyptian afterlife, a place where the souls of the dead are judged. Could Kratos face the ultimate judgment for his past deeds? Would he have to challenge the gods of the underworld to atone for his sins, or would the gods seek to use his violent history against him? Atreus could also explore Egyptian mythology in parallel, discovering secrets of this ancient civilization that tie into his quest for knowledge and identity. Perhaps Kratos and Atreus' paths would cross as they both encounter the Egyptian gods and unravel the mysteries of the Nile, further complicating their relationship. The warrior cultures of the Mayans and Aztecs offer Kratos an arsenal of deadly and symbolic weapons. One iconic weapon could be the macuahuitl, an obsidian-edged sword used by the Aztec warriors. This unique blade could be crafted with sharp volcanic glass, capable of delivering devastating slashes and shattering bones with ease. Kratos might also gain mystical powers by invoking the spirits of these ancient civilizations. Imagine Kratos tapping into the power of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, using magical attacks that summon swirling feathers or storms of wind and lightning. The ritualistic nature of Aztec mythology could allow Kratos to harness blood sacrifices to fuel his strength, a grim but fitting mechanic for the god of war. Aztec and Mayan gods are known for their ferocity, and Kratos would face a host of formidable deities. Huitzilopochtli, the Aztec god of war and the sun, would likely be the ultimate boss. As the embodiment of the sun and warfare, Huitzilopochtli would challenge Kratos in combat with incredible speed and fire-based attacks, perhaps even summoning the sun itself to scorch the battlefield. Another powerful opponent could be Tezcatlipoca, the god of sorcery, night, and chaos. Known for his trickery and illusions, Tezcatlipoca could trap Kratos in illusions or manipulate the environment, forcing the player to navigate through ever-changing battlefields while avoiding shadowy attacks. The Mayan feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl would also be a majestic and terrifying foe. Quetzalcoatl's ability to shapeshift and control natural elements, particularly wind and water, would lead to an epic showdown involving massive storms, tornadoes, and flying battles across jungle canopies or atop pyramids. Other mythological creatures, such as the jaguar gods or the terrifying Tsitsimime, also known as star demons, could serve as mini-bosses or additional threats. In a Mayan or Aztec setting, Kratos could be drawn into a struggle involving apocalyptic prophecies. The Mayan civilization in particular is famous for its complex calendar systems, and Kratos might find himself involved in a doomsday scenario tied to the end of an age. This could mirror some of the themes from the Norse series, where Kratos battled against a predetermined fate such as Ragnarok, but here he might face the cycle of destruction and rebirth that is central to Mayan and Aztec beliefs. Kratos' past as a god-killer would likely make him a prime target for these civilizations, as many of the gods in these mythologies demand regular sacrifices to maintain the balance of the world. Kratos could be seen as a threat to this cycle, and the gods might try to prevent him from upsetting their cosmic order. Atreus, with his growing curiosity and connection to different mythologies, could also be drawn into this world, perhaps becoming entangled in rituals or prophecies that force him to confront new aspects of his destiny. In the rugged, mystical world of Celtic mythology, Kratos would have access to weapons deeply tied to the land and its ancient magic. He might wield Celtic spears or great battle hammers inscribed with runes, capable of unleashing elemental attacks. Another possibility is that Kratos could learn druidic magic, using nature itself as a weapon, summoning roots to entangle his foes, calling upon storms, or even transforming into an animal form during combat. The Celtic mythology's emphasis on the natural world could add a unique flavor to Kratos' abilities, allowing him to harness the forces of earth, wind, and fire in creative ways. Celtic mythology offers a wide array of deities and supernatural creatures for Kratos to encounter. One major figure is the Dagda, a warrior god and leader of the Tuatha De Danann, who wields a club so powerful it can kill with one end and bring life with the other. A battle with the Dagda would be both brutal and symbolic, as Kratos faces a god whose powers rival his own. Lugh, the god of light and war, would present a different kind of challenge, with his mastery of all skills and weapons, forcing Kratos to fight with precision and strategy. Morrigan, the shape-shifting goddess of war and fate, could serve as a fearsome adversary, with battles filled with illusions, prophecy, and the looming threat of death. The Celtic world is also populated by powerful mythical creatures like the Fomorians, ancient giants with dark, chaotic powers, and the Banshees, whose wailing screams could incapacitate or even kill. These encounters would push Kratos to the edge of his endurance and test his strength in ways that even the Norse gods could not. In the Celtic mythological landscape, Kratos could continue his exploration of fate and free will. The Celts had a deep connection to the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, and this could tie into Kratos' ongoing struggle with his own mortality and legacy. As he ventures through the misty forests and sacred sites of the Celts, he might seek to understand the true meaning of his journey and whether he can ever escape the cycle of violence that has defined his life. Atreus could play a key role in this story, exploring the Celtic view of fate and prophecy. Together, Kratos and Atreus might uncover ancient secrets about the nature of gods, power, and destiny, forcing them to confront new moral dilemmas and spiritual challenges. Each of these mythological settings, Egyptian, Mayan, Aztec, and Celtic, offers rich potential for the next chapter in Kratos' saga. From battling sun gods in the desert to confronting ancient war deities in misty forests, the possibilities are endless for how God of War can continue to expand its mythology while delivering the intense emotional storytelling and brutal combat fans have come to love. As Kratos embarks on a journey through diverse mythologies, he would undoubtedly gain new abilities and combat styles, fundamentally reshaping his approach to battles. Each mythology presents unique elemental forces and ancient powers, allowing Kratos to channel them in innovative ways. Imagine Kratos harnessing the elemental forces of the Egyptian desert, allowing him to manipulate the sands as weapons or barriers. He could summon sandstorms to obscure his enemy's vision, or create constructs made of sand that act as temporary shields or traps. This power could also extend to controlling the currents of the Nile, using its might to unleash floods on foes, or draw strength from its life-giving essence to heal himself. In the Celtic realm, Kratos might discover druidic magic that connects him to the natural world. He could wield the essence of storms, commanding lightning to strike down adversaries or calling upon the spirits of the forest for guidance and aid. This connection might even allow him to manipulate time momentarily, reflecting the cyclical nature of Celtic beliefs and providing strategic advantages in battle. Each mythology could inspire Kratos to forge new weapons, imbuing them with divine powers drawn from the respective pantheons. He could craft a khopesh from the finest Egyptian metals, its curved blade capable of slashing through armor with divine precision. In contrast, a maquahuitl, crafted from obsidian, would serve as a brutal yet elegant weapon against foes in the Mayan or Aztec realms. These weapons wouldn't just be tools of war, they could be extensions of Kratos' newfound abilities, each one a testament to the cultures he encounters. Kratos' combat style would need to evolve dramatically to meet the challenges posed by these new mythologies. While his brute strength and relentless ferocity have always defined him, the dynamic nature of these mythologies would require him to adopt more agile and strategic approaches in battles. In the Egyptian realm, where the sands can shift and obscure vision, agility would become paramount. Kratos might incorporate acrobatics into his fighting style, utilizing swift movements and evasive maneuvers to dodge enemy attacks while launching counter-strikes from unexpected angles. His combat could also include a combination of melee and magical abilities, blending his classic weaponry with new elemental powers to create fluid and devastating combos. In the Celtic battles, strategy could take center stage. Kratos might face mythical beasts and creatures that require careful planning to defeat. Engaging with the land itself could become a crucial aspect of his combat, where he uses the environment to his advantage. Imagine using a Celtic shield not just for defense but as a way to reflect enemy attacks back at them, or utilizing terrain features to create traps for larger foes. The ability to adapt and think on his feet would elevate Kratos to a new level of warrior, combining his strength with cunning. These new abilities would also allow for unique finishing moves tailored to each mythology. For example, facing a mummy in Egypt could end with a devastating sand-infused strike, while a confrontation with a Celtic giant might see Kratos harnessing the spirit of the forest to ensnare and overwhelm his opponent. The combination of new abilities and evolving combat styles would ensure that Kratos remains a formidable force, adapting to whatever challenges he faces across realms. One of the most thrilling possibilities for Kratos' future lies in the concept of crossing between multiple mythologies and pantheons. Rather than confining each game to a single mythology, Kratos could become a wanderer among worlds, hopping from one pantheon to another in a single narrative arc. This fluid movement between realms would open up endless possibilities for storytelling and gameplay. Picture Kratos confronting gods from different mythologies, leading to epic crossover battles that pit him against the likes of Ra, Tezcatlipoca, and the Dagda all at once. Each encounter would bring fresh dynamics to the battles, as Kratos adapts his tactics to the strengths and weaknesses of the various gods and creatures he faces. The lore could reflect this shift as well. As Kratos journeys through different realms, he might discover a cosmic balance that must be maintained. Perhaps a malevolent force threatens multiple pantheons, and Kratos finds himself uniting gods from different mythologies against a common enemy. This could introduce new allies and even unexpected betrayals, weaving a rich tapestry of alliances and conflicts that deepen Kratos' character. In such a narrative, Kratos would be not just a slayer of gods but a bridge between worlds, facing challenges that test his limits and redefine his purpose. The emotional weight of these encounters could lead to profound interactions with deities who embody various aspects of life, death, and morality, pushing Kratos to confront not only his past, but also the future he wishes to shape. As Kratos journeys through these various mythologies, he must confront new moral challenges that add depth to his character. The burden of godhood has always weighed heavily on him, and as he faces gods and creatures that represent different facets of existence, he will be forced to reflect on the nature of his legacy. No matter where he travels, Kratos will always be seen as a god-slayer, a title that carries both reverence and fear. How will he wrestle with this growing responsibility? Could he finally embrace the idea that he cannot escape his past, regardless of how far he travels? Alternatively, this journey might lead him toward a path of redemption. He could seek to rectify the wrongs of his past by protecting the balance of life and death in these new realms. The legacy he leaves behind could also be a significant theme. With Atreus by his side, Kratos may want to instill in him the values of honor, sacrifice, and responsibility. How does he want Atreus to remember him? Will he share the darker aspects of his past, or try to shield him from the burden of his choices? The father-son dynamic could deepen, showcasing how Kratos navigates his complex feelings of love, regret, and hope as he mentors Atreus on their journey. Moreover, the new pantheons may present moral dilemmas that challenge Kratos' perception of right and wrong. The gods he encounters might not fit into the clear-cut categories of good and evil. Engaging with them could force Kratos to reconsider his beliefs, leading to conflicts that transcend mere physical battles and delve into the philosophical. In conclusion, as Kratos ventures into the realms of Egyptian, Mayan, Aztec, and Celtic mythologies, he will undergo profound transformations that not only expand his abilities, but also deepen his character. Through new combat styles, the crossing of pantheons, and the confrontation of moral challenges, Kratos will continue to evolve as one of gaming's most iconic characters, leaving a lasting legacy that resonates with players across generations. The future of his journey is not just about the battles he fights, but the man he strives to become in a world filled with gods, monsters, and the burden of destiny. Thanks for joining me on this exhilarating journey through the potential future of God of War. As we've explored, the next adventures for Kratos and Atreus promise to be filled with thrilling battles, new abilities, and complex moral dilemmas that challenge their very essence. What mythological realm are you most excited to see Kratos explore? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep the conversation going, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps me bring more content like this to you. Hit that notification bell to stay updated on all our latest videos and join our community as we continue to delve into the captivating world of gaming lore. Until next time, keep your blades sharp and your minds open.